Ash, how you doing?
Oh, Greg, I'm good. Welcome to another episode of Haunted Pub Crawl.
Yeah, I've been looking
We,
forward to this.
yes, we are staying in the Fife area of Scotland because there's tons of haunted pubs that we found. So,
Yeah, there is, and I've got two that are on um, the same road.
oh,
So
that's interesting.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to this. There's some very strange happenings um, on these two pubs. So yeah, I've got a little bit of information on both of those.
Awesome. Awesome. I've got three, two. See how we go for time.
Yeah,
May keep it to two. We'll see. Two each, maybe.
yeah, cool.
We shall
So
see.
yeah, so okay, I'll start then. I'll go with my first one. It's at the north end of Kilcowdy High Street. It's called Betty Nichols Public House.
Cool.
Yeah, let me get a picture of that up for you. So there we go.
Oh, nice green.
Google Street View. Some guy. I don't know if he's a bouncer or what. Um, so this building has been occupied by and operated as a pub since at least 1741, when it was known as the Victoria Bar. And
Wow.
during the centuries that it's been trading, it's changed hands several times between the main brewers until in 2002 it was sold and is now privately owned. So it's been around, what's that, 270 years?
Yeah, nearly 300.
Yeah. I think some of the ones that we were talking about last week on the last episode, they were also
Yeah.
around that sort of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the pub retains many of its original features, which creates a pleasant, oldie worldy atmosphere. It does, however, seem that the building has kept more than its just its charm, with numerous unexplained occurrences being experienced by both the staff and the customers, which is quite cool. And the incidents were reported in the Fife Free Press. The incidents were reported in the Fife Free Press. Not so easy for me to say. And the article is quoted on the pub's website as follows. Whiskey and vodka aren't the only spirits that can be found at Betty Nichols this year. For the Kirkcaldy pub, it has its own ghost, according to members of staff who have witnessed some spooky goings on. The pub, located in the east end of the high street, has been in existence since the early 18th century and is no stranger to ghostly incidents. Just before Christmas, cleaner Vicky Drysdale got the fright of her life when she arrived for work a little earlier than usual. When she entered the back room as part of her daily routine, she jumped out of her skin when she saw a tea light burning on one of the tables. CCTV footage also showed a flame flickering when previous images from throughout the night had shown nothing.
Ah.
Quite odd. A little bit of
Hmm.
CCTV to back it up
Yeah,
as well.
that's cool.
Because when we talk in on other episodes of this, it's been quite hearsay stuff.
Pretty
I've had a couple
anecdotal.
pretty anecdotal, nothing firm, but this one there's a CCTV image change, and Vicky said that she came in early about 7 a.m. and went through to check the back room. When she opened the door, it was pitch black, but noticed that one of the candles was burning. I got fright and panicked. There's no way a tea light that size could have burned all night. I blew it out and quickly shut the door. I definitely think there is a ghost here. Every time I go into the back, I'm now a bit edgy. I've never been back through that early since, and the barmaids don't like going down to the cellar for ice anymore. So, yeah, anybody who's looked at a tea light, they only burn for a little while, don't they? They're not,
Yeah, a couple of hours usually.
yeah. So the article goes on to describe the experiences of one of the barmaids who works at the pub. She was able to confirm the general dislike of the cellar area amongst the staff and their reasons for this, with Joe Dalton, who's barmaid at the pub, saying, I've not had a direct experience with a ghost, but you certainly get a feeling of a presence down in the cellar as if someone was watching you. One of the other barmaids does, however, appear to have had a direct encounter with the spirits in the bar, as well as the ones on the shelves. She claimed to have seen the ghosts, and the article continues to describe her experience and some of the other occurrences as told by the bar owners. Sandy Haxton, who is the bar's owner, said, "Our other barmaid Vicky maintains there's definitely a psychic presence in the pub. She claims that she can see the ghostly figures of two men and a dog walking about. We've had other members of staff hearing bells and seeing figures in the mirror. I'm not really into any of this rubbish, but after looking at the tape, I'm beginning to believe it myself. It's bad enough trying to get the staff just now without freaking them out with ghost stories."
True.
With seemingly regular reports such as these, it's not surprising that the bar has attracted the attention of paranormal organisations, always looking for somewhere new to go on a paranormal investigation, some of whom have been given the opportunity to carry out investigations in the premises, during which they've reported hearing unexplained noises along with experiencing drop-in temperatures in the cellar with no apparent cause. The press also reported one visit by a respected psychic caseworker called Archibald Lowry to the premises. Archibald, author of the Psychic Investigator's Casebook, visited Betty Nichols last June with a medium to give a talk about his new book. He said they detected spiritual movements during the visit. "I'm called to various sites to get rid of spooky things. I chat to the spirits and they tell me their story before moving on. And in Betty Nichols, we definitely felt the presence of memories from the past." So whatever or whoever is causing these unexplained events remains a mystery. The figures are still yet to be identified by witnesses, but hopefully over the coming years, some answers will be provided. And that is Betty Nichols.
Cool name as well for pub.
Yeah, definitely.
Like the when they say like with the spirits, different types, it's so cliche, but I don't know, it just makes me laugh.
Yeah.
It still makes me laugh.
Yeah, that's it. Anytime, pubs and spirits, classic. But yeah, spooky pub.
Cool. And good to have CCTV. Like
Mm.
random flame burning, that is pretty weird.
Yeah, and to see it no flame and then a few frames later with flame, that's pretty cool.
Cool. So my first pub is in Tayport, not too far away, and this is the.
Say so.
I'm going to try and pronounce this because it's like, you know, when Scottish people like on social media, they sometimes write in like a Scottish accent.
Yep.
Like with the words. So like you can read it as you're reading it, you're sort of saying it in a Scouse accent. Scottish accent. This is how this pub is. So it's it's spelt the Old House Public House.
Nice accent.
So that the Old House Public House is situated in one of the oldest parts of Tayport on White Hill and has always been a public house. It dates from the early 19th century, so not quite as old as your pub, but still pretty old, and stands right next to the graveyard of the old kirk. And parts of this church were built as early as 1607. And most of the graves around here are those of shipmasters, as Tayport's harbour was a very busy one back in those days. The graveyard wall sits right next to the garage that's built to the side of the pub. And as a result, the graves behind this wall are at eye level when you're in the bar, so you can look out the window and see the graves in the graveyard, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And this is the Oud House.
I think you butchered that accent, but yeah.
My gran will be disappointed. Although a detailed history of this building seems to be difficult to find, the owners say that ghostly events have been reported throughout the years, some of which they experienced themselves. Some from previous owners, and also from the customers who have frequented there in the past. Some of the examples of paranormal activity are a mist coming from nowhere that's seen in the lounge area.
Nice.
The sound of pool balls moving on their own when nobody's in that room. And that's quite a specific like sound.
Very
hear,
specific, like
pool balls clinking together and like off the wall of the table and stuff.
Yeah, I think you in your head you can imagine that straight away. If you heard it, you go, I know what that is.
Yeah, and then you go in that room and there's no one in there. Just an empty table. Two members of staff at the same time felt somebody rush past them near the bar, but again, there's no one there. But they both felt and that feeling where when someone's in your personal space, you just know that someone's there, someone rushing past you. But for both of them to experience it,
Odd.
pretty hard. 2 sets of doors have opened and shut in the small bar area, and the posters lifted up as if caused by a draft from someone running past. Customers present at the same time witnessed the doors being flung open as if someone had walked into the room. So it definitely sounds like somebody came in the room.
Yeah, definitely.
2 members of staff felt it. You had the posters on the wall, like sort of lifting up, and the door being flung open. So it must have been pretty strong wind, which could be wind,
Yeah.
but quite a strong wind to fling the door open, I guess.
Go
on.
I was going to say, when you can sense somebody's behind you, you get that sort of like a change in the like the atmosphere around you. So if they both experienced that at the same time, generally, oh god, I've got literally got goosebumps all over my body now talking about that. But you get a sense that somebody's like watching you or whatever, and there usually is somebody there. You can look at someone and they can sort of sense that you're looking at them or whatever. But yeah, odd.
A loud noise has been heard as something got thrown in the small bar. That was heard by a member of staff who went into who's in the next room. So he went into the room. Again, nobody's in there. When they got in there, there's a pack of playing cards on the floor. They'd been arranged in a semicircle, and all the cards were face down apart from the 2 jokers.
Oh, what?
And previous to this, the cards had been in the box, sat on the bar. But now they were spread in a semicircle with the jokers face up.
No, that's odd.
That's some creepy shit.
Yeah, that's proper horror film level.
The Joker's calling card.
Yeah, that's odd. I don't know if I'd be a fan of going there.
Like some poker. Yeah, pub poker.
If they can manipulate the cards like that without touching them, poker's probably not a great idea.
True. Glasses have been seen flying off the shelf, which is quite a common one with pubs, is sort of glasses moving. And
do you think that's because that's quite obviously there's a lot of glasses in a pub, but that's a very good way of getting attention. It's just smashing a glass. It's like it happens when there's like fights. I don't know, it's quite a distinctive, loud, easy sound, and they can just, I suppose it's not quite as much energy to
and I guess if it's an old staff member that's still there or an old customer who's there for years, like they're used to picking up the glasses and might have smashed a few in a time, so it could just be. So that's what they're used to doing. It's just like sliding the glass or something and knocking it off the table or what have you. So,
they might have just not paid him properly. He's going along the bar going, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you." Have all these glasses back in his afterlife. Maybe that's just my aggressiveness coming out there. Sorry.
So the Paranormal Discovery team have been investigating, and they recorded a very loud male voice in the pub when no one's present, and the voice was only heard on the recording, not at the time by the investigators out there.
Nice CVP.
And they also recorded, when the pub was empty overnight, a sound very like pool balls being hit. So again, they actually got like the sound of it.
Cool.
Being hit, that noise. So not only have customers heard it, and staff heard it, the paranormal investigation team also heard it.
That's cool.
And there's literally no one in the pub overnight. So
amazing.
Yeah. So again, another quite a lot of like in the last episode, in the same area, there's a lot of different stuff going on.
Yeah.
Like each of these pubs, which is
it's really cool.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I like that one. Cool. So next up for me, and I will butcher this name, and I do apologise to anybody. This is the Thayer's Arms. I think I pronounced that right. Feuars. Thayer's Arms. So reports.
It's almost like it's a different country. These
yeah,
these words.
yeah, that's it. You would think it was a different country, wouldn't you? So reports of unexplained occurrences in the pub include the sounds of items being moved around in empty areas, similar to what you've experienced in the previous pub. Footsteps being heard as though someone is running down the stairs towards the kitchen area, but when checked, it's found that no one's there. Beer pumps turning themselves off, and the sound of a woman singing. In February 2005, a local paranormal group carried out an investigation at the pub, accompanied by a reporter from one of the papers. The landlord at the time advised that in addition to the experiences already listed, there had also been incidents where staff felt as though someone touched them on their shoulder when there was no one else present. It was also claimed that one particular section of the cellar always felt cold, no matter how warm the rest of the cellar or building was. And on one occasion, the landlord took his dog down to the basement, and as they approached the area, the dog was said to have become distressed and freaked out. So dogs and animals do have sort of a different sense of seeing stuff that's not there, and definitely they're able to pick up on things that we certainly can't. You hear about dogs being able to recognize people when they've got like a fit coming on, or they're about to have a seizure. The dogs can sense that before it happens, which is quite cool. Earthquakes, animals are very quick to pick up on earthquakes even before their tremors are felt. So they've definitely got a different sense of what's going on.
And cows lay down when it's going to rain.
They do. Basically the same thing. But it's true. It is true. It's true. So the investigation team who attended the property reported seeing a number of light anomalies during the night, as well as hearing some tapping noises, and one member stated she felt someone touch her on the shoulder. But when she looked, lo and behold, there was no one near her. However, according to the article that was subsequently written in the newspaper, the most interesting occurrence took place when they carried out an experiment with a glass which was placed upturned on top of one of the tables in the bar area. The team repeatedly called out to any ghosts in the building and requested that they demonstrated that they were present by moving the glass, and after a short time it said that the glass did slide a few inches across the table. No one was touching the glass at the time, and the table had not been moved or inadvertently knocked. This incident was witnessed by all those present, and to date, no natural explanation has been found for the glass apparently moving on its own. We've seemingly, cool. That is cool. Now, that's happened to me, and I'll explain after this bit where that happened. With seemingly high levels of unexplained phenomena occurring in the pub, it continues to be of interest to the paranormal community, and hopefully investigations will continue and eventually some answers will be provided. And that is the Thayer's Arms.
Okay, now, so what's your glass story?
So, true story. Me and my daughter, we were out in Pizza Express in Whitney. Used to be in Whitney, it used to be an old mill town where they made blankets. And Whitney's famous for blankets, apparently. In this particular Pizza Express, it's quite an old building. There was a glass on our table, and I shit you not, they moved, and both of us looked at each other and were like, "Did you see that?"
How far did it move?
Moved about 3 or 4, 5 inches, something like that. It just went, wow. And we both just looked at each other and was like, what? I was like, did you just see that? And she was like, yep. We both saw it, and it was like, I was sat one side of a little table. She was sat the opposite. Like when there's like 4 of you at a little table, she was like sat the opposite outside to me. Yeah, very strange. And that was an old building. It's a very historic town in Whitney, but yeah, very old, very old. So I kind of get that sort of like phenomena of happening. So that's quite cool. That's a few years ago now, but
it's good doing like say when no one's actually touched it. Because obviously when you use like a glass with a Ouija board, or just doing like sort of spirit talking with the glass on the table, or
yeah, someone's
whatever.
touching it.
Like
Usually
you have got people touching it, so it's either that person's energy, or is it like the unconscious energy moving it, blah blah blah. When no one's touching it, like in that case and in your case,
exactly.
That's even weirder. That's cool. You've been back to that Pizza Express?
Yeah, I go there quite a lot. Never had anything else happen there.
You've sat at the same table?
Yeah, I've sat at the same table. It doesn't feel weird in there. It's quite a nice, light, airy place. Quite a modern Pizza Express, basically. But just not like a pizza, like a Domino's or something like that. It's quite. They convert a lot of the older buildings, and Whitney's down like the high street in Whitney. There's quite a lot of old buildings that they do. A lot of them have been converted to like pubs or restaurants. But yeah, so that's been pretty cool. But no weird experiences other than that. Been back there many times over the years. Nothing feels weird there. There's no kind of weird atmosphere. There's nothing. Just happened. Very strange. Didn't it freak us out? It's just like we looked at each other and was like, "Did you see that?" And she was like, "Yeah." And that was it. We kind of like can't explain it, but it didn't feel weird. Which was odd. But yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So that takes us on to my second pub for this episode, which is the Laffons Inn.
Okay.
Let me just bring that up. Or the Inn at Laffons, it's also known as. And this lies approximately 5 miles from St Andrews in the East Nook of Fife. This quaint hotel is reputed to be St Andrews' oldest coaching inn, being some 400 years old. Now, a couple of these pubs we talked about have been described as coaching inn, and I've not even looked at what that means. Do you know what it means? Is it?
I'm laughing.
I'm thinking maybe horses. Like
it's got to be to do with that because, like, coach.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of pubs around here called Coach and Horses, or it's just one of those old things that people sat in, like a taxi bit, like a horse-drawn carriage, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe it's like where them drivers or operators or the horses went to have a drink, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
And let the horses have a drink in the water or something. I don't know. But just keep seeing it coaching in. I should really let's take this a second on Google, but anyway. Yeah, coaching in. So this one's 400 years old. So we're going a bit older than the other pubs. And the oldest part of the building is the former stables, horses, which is now a function room. And the front part of the house dates back to the 17th century.
Okay.
There's a marriage lintel dated 1718 above the fireplace, which was to commemorate the marriage of former owners Jonah Kirk and Ewan Lindsay, who ran the establishment as a drover's inn. Such an old building deserves to have a ghost or two, which this appears to do. And there have been many recent strange events at the inn reported by guests and staff. And I guess like it's 400 years old.
Yeah.
It's getting very old.
Definitely.
So a couple of things that have been happening there. You got doors and windows opening and closing by themselves. You got fire tools swinging and also moving from one side of the fireplace to the other. It's like the old like irons and the pokes and stuff.
Yeah.
Just moving. There's a baby crying that's been heard in the upstairs office.
Had to be.
Love a crying baby. I don't even like live ones. There's a grey swirling mist that appears above beds in the hotel part of the building. And there's a grey lady and her horse are reputed to reside in the old stables. who is believed to be Jonah Kirk, who ran the inn, as we previously mentioned, from 1718 until her death in 1736. So it's her ghost that is believed to be seen. Maybe it's her responsible for all of these strange things happening.
Maybe
At this pub.
Odd.
Yeah, so yeah, interesting old 400-year-old pub there.
Yeah, definitely creepy. It's never good when you hear crying babies, especially when there isn't a baby there. Yeah. Swirling mists above the bed. That's never good either. Never good.
No.
But yeah, some odd pubs we visited tonight. So
Yep, and we'll have more next week.
absolutely. Thanks for joining us.
See you then.